Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Derek Martinez. The trial for a Freeland man charged with murder has been postponed due to allegations of witness intimidation. According to officials, Frangel Garcia Andujar has been charged with murdering 17-year-old Stanley Jimson Jr. of Hazleton and injuring 4 others. Investigators say the incident took place during a party at 182 South Wyoming Street in Hazleton on March 6, 2022. The trial was scheduled to begin on March 24th, but has been delayed. According to prosecutors, Garcia Andujar has been attempting to influence the testimony of the witnesses by contacting them during his jailhouse phone calls. As a result, investigators say they will be reviewing about 140 of Garcia Andujar's phone calls from the Luzerne County Correctional Facility. The trial is now scheduled to begin on June 20th. Garcia Andujar remains behind bars without bail on charges of criminal homicide, attempted murder, aggravated assault, and reckless endangerment. 2 men have been arrested after Hazleton City Police say they fired shots at 2 parked cars and fled from police. According to police, Mikey Montilla Diaz and Francisco Montilla are facing charges after officers were called to the area of 17th and Grand Streets on March 7th for reports of multiple gunshots. Upon arriving at the scene, officers saw a black BMW fleeing the scene and initiated a traffic stop. The vehicle continued to flee from police until it eventually stopped at the intersection of 12th Street and Hanover Court. Police were able to identify the driver as Mikey Montilla Diaz and the front passenger as Francisco Montilla. 2 additional passengers were also in the vehicle. Police say a Glock handgun was visible on the driver's seat and the vehicle was secured until a search warrant could be obtained. In the area of the shooting, officers say projectiles were found in 2 parked and unattended vehicles as well as in 2 nearby residences. Both men have been charged with propulsion of missiles and possessing a firearm without a license in connection with the incident. Montilla Diaz has also been charged with fleeing and eluding police. The 2 men are currently behind bars at the Luzerne County Correctional Facility, unable to post their $50,000 bail. PA State Representative Dane Watrow is urging residents to speak out about Penn State University's proposed plans to close satellite campuses. Among the campuses being considered for closure are Penn State Hazleton, Penn State Schuylkill, and Penn State Wilkes-Barre. In a press release on Friday, Penn State officials said the closures are being considered due to enrollment declines, population shifts, and financial concerns. When evaluating each of the campuses, officials say they will also be taking into consideration students' experience and success. We sat down with Watrow in the studio to get his thoughts on the impact of the potential closure in the local area.
Our students in the Hazleton School District and Schuylkill County, they have a relationship with the university. A smooth transition application processes. I know students in the Hazleton area go to school in the evening and take some classes there. So this is something that's going to hurt so many people, faculty, staff, and mainly our students. And this is something that we will fight like all heck to make sure that they remain open.
Watrow also emphasized the taxpayer dollars being given to Penn State and said he will continue to fight to keep the local campuses open.
This isn't something that's going to pass right by. We're going to fight and fight hard. The second most important piece, other than the families, our local community that bought into this program with Penn State there in the Hazleton campus, is that the state for the past several years gives over $350 million to PSU. So I'm going to fight like all heck because this year budget will be in there again with a slight increase. When you're talking $250 million, that's a lot of taxpayers' money. And I'm not expecting Hazleton to take a loss or our Schuylkill County campus to take a loss with that type of funds going to Penn State.
In a press release from Penn State, officials say the university is looking to maintain a continued presence in the northeastern and Pittsburgh regions. However, it is unclear if any or all of the campuses in northeastern Pennsylvania will remain open. The Penn State committee conducting the review of the satellite campuses is encouraging public feedback. Public comments can be sent to cwc2025@psu.edu. Coming up on WYLN News, the Luzerne County Opioid Committee announces an upcoming town hall meeting in Hazleton. Plus, Pennsylvania State Police search for a missing person. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
WYLN News is brought to you by Lehigh Valley Health Network Pediatric Rehabilitation Services in Hazleton, a brand new location custom designed with children in mind. Our team of therapists and specialists improve the lives of children who need physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech-language pathology.
My name is Andy, and tomorrow we're going to be partly cloudy.
Weather Kids is brought to you by Lehigh Valley Hospital, Hazleton. Your health deserves a partner.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts, just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today. SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialists, call S.J. Kowalski at 570-455-2600. Attention WYLN viewers, WYLN TV can now be seen on the Hazleton Service Electric Cablevision HD tier, channel 507, and over the air at 35.1. WYLN, we're your local network. Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. WYLN programming is online all the time. Visit our website at WYLNTV.com to check out archive shows and a live stream of our broadcasts. And don't forget to visit all of our social media pages for breaking news, weather, and sports. You can also head directly to our YouTube page for all our programming at youtube.com/WYLNTV35. Subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time there's a new show available online.
Welcome back to WYLN News. The Luzerne County Opioid Settlement Committee will be hosting a town hall meeting at Hazleton City Hall on Monday, March 24th. During the meeting, the committee will be providing updates to the community about current settlement funding and plans for future spending. Luzerne County Manager Milda Crocamo said the meeting will be a good opportunity for the public to come and ask any questions they may have about the settlement and the use of the funds.
Please come and ask whatever questions you like. The opioid money is from a settlement with pharmaceuticals, and Luzerne County receives in excess of $1 million each year for the next 25 years. So we have to make decisions and recommendations on how that money is used to combat that terrible plague.
Hazleton City Hall is located at 40 North Church Street in Hazleton. The meeting is scheduled to begin at 5:30 p.m. Pennsylvania State Police are attempting to locate an escaped patient from the Clark Summit State Hospital. According to troopers, 24-year-old Brittany Vandervoort entered the office in Dixon City to check in for a scheduled medical appointment and then fled the premises. Vandervoort stands 5 feet 1 inch tall and weighs 170 pounds. She is described by police as having blonde hair and blue eyes. Officials say she was last seen wearing a black zip-up hoodie and black leggings. According to police, Vandervoort may be at a special risk of harm or injury. She was last seen in the area of the Scranton-Carbondale Highway in Dixon City on March 10th around 11:30 a.m. Anyone with information regarding her whereabouts is asked to call 911. The Nuremberg Community Players will be presenting their latest stage production, Are You Being Served?, beginning Friday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Are You Being Served is a play based on the British comedy TV series of the same name that aired from 1971 until 1985 on the BBC. The stage play follows the crew of the Grace Brothers department store as they head off for a staff holiday at a one-star Spanish hotel. The show is directed by Todd Statuccio and features set design by Joan Hooper and costume design by Barbara Bertusik. Due to some mature situations and adult language, the production may not be suitable for younger viewers. Are You Being Served will be performed on March 21st and 22nd at 7 p.m. and on March 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are $15 and can be reserved by calling 877-718-7894. The show will be performed at the Emerson Theater, located at 283 Hazel Street in Nuremberg. Coming up on Avoca's News Choice, Chris Fulmer leads us down the path through history with Williamsport, Part 2. Plus, we discuss the dangers of brush fires on this week's Firefighter Spotlight. And stay right here on WYLN, we'll be right back.
Express Care. Walk in and you walk into the region's most trusted health network.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN.
Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Road Stops. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
Cooking rice just isn't nice. Hi, Chef Daniel Green here with Rice Robot, the 1, 2, 3 rice cooker. Watch, 1 add the white cup for rice, 2 add the blue cup for water, 3 click it and let Rice Robot perfectly cook it. The secret is Perfect Cook technology that surrounds the rice with controlled heat for even cooking. Then Rice Robot senses when it's done, auto stops and keeps it warm to serve. It won't burn, overcook or undercook, guaranteed. And rice is just the beginning. Make mac and cheese, frittatas, oatmeals, soups and stews, even ramen dishes. And with a ceramic, ultra non-stick interior, cleanup's a breeze.
Get the complete Rice Robot cooking system with the steamer tray and 1-2-3 recipe guide, all for just $39.99. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. We'll even ship your entire order free. Order now.
1-800-640-8545.
Hey, did you know WYLN posts news stories and other bonus content on social media all week long? The Weather Kids, Fresh from the Farm, Everyday Heroes, Let's Talk Sports, Feel Good Friday, daily news stories, and more. Visit WYLNTV.com, Facebook, and YouTube to check it out. WYLN, the local leader on social media. We're your local network.
A Path Through History is sponsored by the Old Jail Museum, 128 West Broad Street in Jim Thorpe. Call 570-325-5259 or visit them online at theoldjailmuseum.com.
The West Branch Canal would give rise to what would become Williamsport's signature industry in the 19th century, lumbering. The hills of north-central Pennsylvania at the time were a solid sea of trees, especially the heavily valued white pine, which was the perfect tree to use for ships' masts. Early lumbering operations existed from the time Europeans first set foot in Lycoming County, but would grow rapidly after the opening of the West Branch Canal. Lumberjacks soon worked non-stop in the woods around Williamsport for months on end, cutting down every tree they could, with preference given to white pines and hemlocks, the latter of which made good wood for tanning. After cutting down the trees, the lumberjacks sawed off the branches, chopped the logs to the desired length, then dragged them or used chutes to get them to the river, where they would be rafted downstream to market. The raftsmen would then sell their rafts at the end of the journey and walk back home. The problem was they could not supply area sawmills with enough logs to keep them profitable. This problem would be solved in 1851 when John Du Bois, Major James, and John Layton built the Susquehanna boom across the river just west of Williamsport. Composed of log cribs and islands connected by log chains, the boom stretched across the river for 7 miles. Its job to catch all the logs that were delivered into the water and hold them for processing. Those logs meant for sawmills along the river would pass through a double gate at the bottom of the boom, where boom rats, as those hired for position were called, would sort out which log would go to which sawmill based on marks the lumberjacks embranded in each log. The industry would take off like a rocket once the boom was in place. By 1870, 30 sawmills worked 24 hours a day along the river just to keep up with lumber demand. The timbering industry became so entrenched in Williamsport that it gave the moniker of the lumber capital of the world, with more millionaires per capita than any other community in the country. Among the most prominent millionaire lumber barons that set down roots in the community was Peter Herdick, who arrived in the area in 1846 after having run a sawmill in upstate New York. Herdick built a new sawmill along the river, and over the ensuing years purchased more and more, and eventually bought the Susquehanna boom itself. He and his partners, Mahlon Fisher and John Redding, expanded on the boom, enlarging it to hold up to 300 million board feet of lumber, enough to keep the area's sawmills going non-stop. Herdick became a fixture in Williamsport, being elected its mayor in 1869. His influence extended well beyond the community to the highest reaches of Pennsylvania's government as well. When several striking lumberjacks were arrested for demonstrating in front of the Lycoming County Courthouse during the 1872 Sawdust War, Herdick got Governor John Geary to pardon them as a personal favor. Herdick gave back to Williamsport, giving money to build many structures in the city. One notable contribution was the clock tower built for Trinity Episcopal Church in 1871. The eventual clock in the tower was the first in America to chime out the Westminster quarters, made famous from their use in Big Ben. Herdick was also an amateur inventor, and created the forerunner of the modern taxi with his Herdick, a 2-wheeled horse-drawn carriage that could hold up to 8 passengers. Peter Herdick died in 1888 after slipping and falling on ice during a trip to Huntingdon County, but his legacy looms large over Williamsport even today, where he is at rest in the city's Wildwood Cemetery. In addition to its lumber industry, other businesses took root in Williamsport around this time, particularly brewing. Perhaps the most notable brewery in the city was the Flock Brewery. Founded as the City Brewery in 1854 and centered on Franklin Street for much of its history, it would be purchased by Jacob Henry Flock in 1864. His family would run the brewery through the 1940s. Among Flock's more popular brands were Bald Eagle Special Brew, Flock's American Beer, Esquire Ale, and Old German Beer. Flock survived Prohibition by temporarily converting into a dairy during the 1920s. Once alcohol became legal again in 1933, it expanded by buying its in-city rival, the Cuck Brewing Company, in 1943. Founded by August Cuck in 1850 and situated on Main Street, Cuck's added its fine lager beer and old-style ale to Flock's recipes. The Flock Brewing Company would close its doors in 1951. Williamsport was incorporated as a city in 1866. 5 years later, it would take a heavy blow on August 20th, 1871, when a terrible fire ravaged the city. It began stables owned by C.M. Baker on East Church Street around 8 p.m. and was rapidly spread through the city by strong south winds. Compounding the issue, the city's fire departments were essentially at war with each other and fought over the right to use Williamsport's fire hydrants, thus wasting valuable time in fighting the blaze. By the time it finally was extinguished, the fire destroyed numerous local landmarks and caused $300,000 worth of damage. The cause of the blaze has never been determined. Some theorized it was sent by angry former Confederate soldiers still willing to strike back at the North for the South's defeat several years prior. Other theories would take a more xenophobic edge, blaming newly arrived immigrants for starting it. Lumber production would peak in Williamsport in the last decades of the 19th century. By this time, the rise of the railroads had rendered the West Branch Canal obsolete, although it would not be completely shut down until 1900. 3 major railroads, the Philadelphia and Reading, New York Central, and Pennsylvania railroads, met in Williamsport by this time, and numerous smaller branches moved deeper into the north-central Pennsylvania woods, making it easier to move logs to market. Lumber barons would also confront the same dilemma the Onceler would eventually face in Dr. Seuss's world. They had cut down too many trees in pursuit of profits, and the surrounding hills were increasingly bare of woods. Heavy floods in 1889-1894 that broke the Susquehanna boom would prove to be the turning point for the area's lumbermen, who started moving west to Minnesota and Wisconsin, where timber was still plentiful. The Susquehanna boom was removed in 1907, and the last Williamsport sawmill closed in 1919, leaving the area wondering where they would go from there. Fortunately, other businesses would be there to fill the gap. The Morrison Patent Wire Rope Company was founded in 1886 to make its namesake wire rope of various lengths. It was renamed the Williamsport Wire Rope Company in 1888, and in 1895 would move to Maynard Street. Although it was bought out by Bethlehem Steel in 1937 and has since changed hands several times, wire rope is still made on the site. There is also the Harris Wire Buckle Suspender Company, which moved to Williamsport from Jersey Shore in 1886 and operated in the city through 1912. It was considered the largest suspender manufacturer in the world at the time, churning out 40,000 suspenders a day. And in 1889, Leighton Legg Stearns, who established a general store in Williamsport years prior, expanded to a full-fledged department store at Pine, West 3rd, and Laurel Streets. L.L. Stearns would become the oldest and largest family-owned and operated department store in the country, run by 5 generations of the Stearns family until its closure in 1984.
And you will love the feel-good feeling you get when you shop at Grand Central in Nescopeck and Hazleton. You will enjoy a no-pressure professional sales staff, experienced delivery crew, service after the sale,
and don't forget, everyday low prices.
No matter what you're shopping for in your home, we have you covered with top brand names like Flex Steel, Lazy Boy, England, and Dillon Custom Rugs.
With our enormous selection and the flexibility to finance interest-free for up to 60 months, Grand Central makes it easy to make your house a home.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
On this week's show, you're going to see Eric Van Fleet's story. 20 years ago, he got hurt at work, had surgery, has screws and plates in his back. He was afraid of chiropractors. Now he's under chiropractic care. Watch the show to see how gentle and effective chiropractic can be.
Something is out there. What it is, no one knows. However, since its first sighting, there have been numerous reports of strange lights in the night sky. Some say they are extraterrestrials, flying saucers. But to all of those seemingly unrelated uncertainties, there is one common thread.
Watch Solo Spaceman on WYLN Thursdays at 1:30, Saturdays at 7, and Sundays at 4:30.
Welcome back to Firefighter Spotlight. I'm here with Fire Chief Bryce Dalrymple from Valley Regional Fire and Rescue. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I know today we're here to talk about brush fires. You know, wildfires, brush fires, they've been making a lot of headlines.
Yes.
And just what we can do as a community to help prevent them.
Well, for our area here, not unlike the Midwest or the West Coast, our fires are considered more of the brush style type fires, just due to the low-lying leaves and the fire load that happens low to the ground. But they still can be devastating to a community and to an area, and can deplete a lot of resources when needed. So if you're going to burn, number one, always check with your municipal organization, your burning ordinance, to make sure that number one, it's permitted. The type of burning you're going to be doing. Majority of the communities in the area, especially Drums and Cunningham, if you do have any kind of burning, it's pretty much organic material, debris such as wood, grasses, things along that line. Usually the burning of construction material or garbage is prohibited. The other piece is always check the National Weather Service for any kind of red flag warnings. They're there for a reason, so very low humidity days can spread wildfires very quickly, right? So always check to make sure, even if you're within your permitted range to burn, through your burning ordinance, if there's a red flag day, I urge you not to burn. There's numerous resources, again, through the National Weather Service. Your local municipality should have something posted on their website, and also your local fire organization, via Facebook, whatever, will also have that information as well if there's any questions.
Gotcha. And what do you see, like, in our area as a lot of common causes for these
Majority
brush fires?
of the fires that happen in our area are either burns that happen when people are doing a debris burn and it's unmanaged, so that means they leave it unattended, or they're burning in days that they shouldn't be burning. And in some cases, they're burning things that they shouldn't be burning. But usually the debris burn is one of the most leading causes of brush fires today that we have in our area, as well as unmanaged campfires. So those are really the two leading causes that we have today.
So if someone is within the ordinances, it's an okay day to burn, what are some tips just for maintaining the fire safely?
If you're going to do a debris burn, make sure the area around your debris is clear. Again, so you remove any kind of leaves, grasses, things along that line. Try to make a perimeter around the burn. Also make sure you're 10 to 30 feet away from any kind of flammable or combustible materials, especially structures. And that's really from that point. If you're using a burn drum to burn any kind of debris, things along that line, try to use what they call a spark arrestor or a grate on top to hold the sparks down from flying. And then if it's a really strong windy day, even though it's not a red flag day, I would urge you to not burn that day just because it's harder to manage as an individual.
Gotcha. And obviously with campfires, you want to keep them in the ring, things like
that.
that.
Yeah, so some communities only have a campfire ordinance where you are required to burn in either a small, either a metal ring or a prescribed type. They call it personal heat or personal enjoyment fires. Are very restrictive. So just make sure you're following those rules and regulations for your community. One of the other pieces that I urge people is if you're doing a debris burn and everything is in line and it's a good weather day, but the fire does seem to get away from you, don't wait to call 911. It's better to have the resources on the road to prevent a large-scale incident than try to manage it yourself and not do a good job and then still need to call at that point. It becomes a larger incident than what it needs to be.
Gotcha. Lots of good information. Anything else you want our viewers to know?
No, just if you're going to burn, just, I like to say use the common sense rule. If you don't think it's a good day to burn, I urge you not to do that. And again, if you have any questions, just pick up the phone, call your local fire department, call your local municipality, and they'll help guide you in the right direction. So.
Sounds good.
Right, thank
Lots
you.
of good information. Thanks for coming on. That'll be it for another segment of Firefighter Spotlight. We'll see you next time.
You're watching WYLN TV 35.